Hey folks, my name is Pravus, welcome back to more Europa Universalis 4, playing as Portugal! And in the last video, we accomplished one of our big goals for the series. We got the Navigator achievement with 8 years to spare. I call that reasonably good. Reasonably good indeed, it worked out great for me. So, what do we want to do now? Well, we have one big achievement left in our agenda, but this one's going to take a while. It's the All Blue achievement. As a reminder, as Portugal, all of Europe has to be owned by me, or a blue European country, like France, Sweden, etc. So now we're going into kind of continental conquest mode, which is, it's gonna take a little while. This is gonna take me at least a couple hundred years. Really depends a lot on what other countries do and whether they count as blue, like Venice, for example, which I think they do, but if they didn't, that'd be a little bit awkward. So this is gonna take me some time. In the meantime, we just wanna build up kind of a normal Portugal game, but just play it really well. So my goals for today's video are pretty straightforward. I want to control as much of the Safi and Tunis trade nodes as possible, to force a lot more income to go directly into Sevilla instead of heading toward Genoa. I will eat the rest of Castile, and I do probably want to fight Aragon to try and wrest some more control of Iberia away from them as well. Might take an extra vassal or two, we will see. In addition to that, it makes a lot of sense to take the rest of the known coastline of West Africa, important to take some of these trade provinces, like in Benin, for example, because the Ivory Coast is kind of one of the big gateways that decides where money from not only South America, but also all of the East Indies and India is going to go. And I want it all to go to me, which is what's happening right now. We want to make sure we solidify that control. I also want to establish control of the Cape of Good Hope over down here. It would be nice to have power in the Gulf of Aden just so I could force even more money down south. Not sure it's going to happen today, we'll see. And then on top of that, of course, we want to set up some colonial nations in Brazil, which we're not that far off from, and I want to get a colonial nation in the Caribbean started. Those are kind of the two big ones for Portugal. So a lot on the agenda here. A lot. Now, a couple of things I forgot to do in the end of the last video that would have actually helped a fair bit, and I should have picked this stuff up. There are going to be a couple of additional privileges that we can hand out once you start colonizing. For example, there we go, establish New World missions, native assimilation plus 50%. That's not bad. The nobility have something kind of similar down over here. Where are you? Nobility expedition rights. Cheaper colonies. Should have done that a lot sooner. And then the burghers are especially good because they're going to have the New World charters. Extra settler chance, extra settler increase, less tariffs, but that's not a big deal. So I should have picked those all up in the last video. I totally forgot they existed. We're going to fix that now, and that's going to speed up my colonization process by a lot. I do really want to make some progress, by the way, in my technology, get back up on par. Tier 8 would be nice. And we really want to finish out things like these exploration and expansion ideas. Get that extra colonist going, get the extra global settler increase, a lot of great stuff. Honestly, expansion ideas is not even half bad because you get minimum autonomy in territories minus 10%. Like, even nations that normally wouldn't be doing a lot of colonizing can benefit from something like that if you're going to be a very, very big empire. So yeah, the more I can finish that out, the better. Plus, I have some coring I need to do. I want to conquer Tlemcen, probably next. I'm getting claims on them for a reason. Yeah, there's a lot that needs to be done, unfortunately. It's going to take a lot of competing priorities here. Anyway, I've got my conquest claim here to be used against Tlemcen, so we're going to do that. I could call in the Papal State for good measure, but I'll be honest, I don't see any reason to do that. We're going to have to fight a bunch of small little guys down here, but they don't really matter, and I'm probably not going to get to take any of their land, if I'm honest. I just stack wiped Tlemcen, by the way, and I didn't even have full morale on this guy. That's the kind of stuff you like to see. What if I took one of these little guys down over here as a vassal so I could feed them land in Tunis and eat them all later? That might be an effective way of getting some additional control in the Tunisian trade node, and I just kind of hold on to that for a while. I've got some relationship limits I can use. Yeah, I actually don't think that's even a bad idea. I think it's halfway decent. So I want to take all of this for sure, and probably a bit more up over here where I can. That's going to cost me a fair bit of my admin power. If I eat the rest of this, that gets me a foothold here in the Tunisian trade node. Doesn't finish off Tlemcen entirely, but it does do a decent amount. I think I just want to stick with this. This is more important than the Safi trade node for now. I don't care if you keep the rest of your allies. That's fine. And then we'll just go ahead and finish this. Coalition, totally not a big deal. So I'm good with it. All right, cool. We'll just eat all of that. Happy with how that turned out. We'll feed the vassal at a later date. In the meantime, guess what? My truce with Castile just ended. I also get to finish off the exploration ideas, which not only boosts up my naval force limit and gets me claims on overseas regions, but also I have more global trade power. Nifty. And we did just finish another mission over here, the Sales of Exploration, because we finished exploration ideas, which means that my character Isabel is going to get some additional Diplo power. And considering she's already a 6, we could do this and that would be converted into 100 more Diplo power. That's equivalent to 100 months of the game. It's not bad to have. I'm debating whether or not it's worth not doing this and saving it for like my next character. I kind of think that maybe it would be, actually. If we do this, if we circumnavigate the world, we'll be able to get an admiral maneuver and stuff, which would be nice. Yeah, I'm going to hold off on this for now and save that for later. Anyway, I need to get my troops up here toward Castile ASAP, because in just a few months, Aragon will be able to declare their own war, and we don't want to cede any of that land to them at all. So let's go ahead and declare that war ASAP. And this will be basically a full occupation minus a couple of islands, which we can go get down here. You moved your capital down over here to Gran Canaria? Really? Well, that was a sneaky little move. Okay, I respect it, actually. Alright, that's 100% war score to use against Castile, so I think we all know what's about to happen. We're going to be eating absolutely everything I can get my hands on. For some reason, Madrid is... There we go, I was going to say, it should be Corbel. Better be Corbel. Alright, we'll grab that, and that's everything, right? They did set up a little colony down over here, for all the good that's going to do them, but that is a full annexation of Castile. Done. Does, again, cause a little bit of a coalition issue with Aragon, but everyone else who could join is so small, I don't think they're going to do anything about it, so I'll call that bluff. No problem at all. How are we doing as far as our overextension? Now I see I want to hold off on this just a little bit so I don't go overextended. Because in my experience, I tend to get like every bad event under the sun when that happens. The problem is, they did themselves a little unconditional surrender, which kind of makes this a little harder. Alright, we're really close. Just go ahead and take that. Done. Thank you so much. And we do have another mission done and out of the way. Over here and intervene in Castile. So by owning all this stuff, we get permanent claims on all of Iberia. This includes, by the way, all of Aragon. So, yeah, we can do whatever we want over here now. That's nice. What is this, by the way? The Akan people of Kumasi and the surrounding regions have lived there for a long time. Ashanti gains government reform progress spent on current reforms by Portugal, or I can play as Ashanti. Well, I'm obviously not doing that. I think we just created a nation somehow. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. You know, sometimes these things just happen. Like, you're not paying attention, and oh, look, a new little nation is born. Oh, it's got my eyes. How pretty. Anyway, let's go ahead and move some troops into position so we can take over a bit more of West Africa. Let's declare our war here against Oyo, and we'll kill Benin while we're at it. Nothing else I want here besides just some coastland, unless some of this land is in the right node. Ondo is. Let's not make sure we lose that. There we go. All right, more Ivory Coast control, thank you. Could also just try taking a vassal and feeding somebody down here in Africa, too. There is something to be said about that, so I don't have to worry about it. It's an option. And Asturias has been annexed. Okay, so that's all taken care of. That's going to be a nice, beautiful little state for me in northern Castile. And colonialism has been born in my territory. As well it should. The odds were very, very high since only one other nation has a single colony in the game. But anyway, there we go. So cool, we get a whole bunch of power, we get some government reform progress, and so on. Beautiful. Love it. And of course another government reform too. Good timing for that. Lands of the church, clerical privileges, temple rights, balance of power. Oh boy, what do we want? I think we'll go for curtailing the clerical privileges, just so one, religious unity doesn't become a problem, because I'm not converting a lot as I hand things off to trade companies. Also, admin tech cost is good, clergy influence is good. It's gonna make it easier for me to remove rights from them later. I don't have to think about it now, you know? There are other good ones out there, but like, this'll work. All right, you know, with Ashanti, what I think I might end up doing is just, I'm thinking about actually vassalizing them for the heck of it. If I do that, though, it's going to be a little bit tricky. I've got to vassalize you. How do I do this? I could vassalize these guys instead, though. Which one has ideas that I like? Does anyone? You have infantry combat ability, and you have manpower and looting speed. That's not useful to me. Kong, do you got anything I care about? Not really. I mean, I'll take one province here because it's part of the Ivory Coast. You get out. And then screw it. Yeah, I'll take this and I will vassalize Ashanti so I can just feed them all this land in a future war. or something. It doesn't matter that much, right? As long as I hold the trade node, then that's like all that matters. Everything else in like Timbuktu, it's just a bonus. Who cares? We should be about to get a colonial nation over here in just a moment. That'll be nice. There it is. All right, we're gonna make this into a self-governing colony. These guys are pretty effective at doing some colonization on their own, but they're gonna need some subsidies from us for this to make sense. And then next, I'm going to turn my attention over here toward the Caribbean, and we'll start colonizing all the trade provinces up there. Usually I find sending about 2 to 3 ducats is enough, because that's how much it costs to do any sort of colonization. So if you got enough money, you just go ahead and hand some off to them. They'll start colonizing things for you, which is great. And then once they can field a military, you can use them to start conquering a lot of natives as well. Oh, except some natives are already declaring war on them, which I find amusing. Good thing I already have some troops nearby. We'll go and deal with that, shall we? Actually, I don't remember. Am I able to do that? There's a way, right? You have to be... You can't intervene in the war directly like that. What do I need to do again in order to get involved in this? There's got to be a way. Yeah, it's enforce peace. That's what I'm looking for. But they won't, because I have to have, I think, 100 opinion with them, which obviously I do not, so that's not going to work. But if I get 100 opinion with my own vassal, we should be able to, I think. So let's try that. No? Why? Hang on, why can't I? There's got to be... I forget how this works every time. It's been a while since I've done any sort of colonial nation stuff. There's got to be a way you can jump in and help your own little vassal, because this is ridiculous. I think it might be too late, because I think they might have gotten more than 25% war score. I think that's what just happened. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. I hate that. It's so stupid. Well, the war just ended. I think they expelled, like, somebody, but it didn't actually lose much. So as annoying as that was, it's not the end of the world. Let's go ahead and continue with our conquest up here in North Africa. Easy peasy. Hand that off. Embrace colonialism. Boom. Get some more tech. We actually have so much power I can go ahead of time in some tech. Good lord. So are we ready for our war against Aragon? I think the answer is probably yes. Now we have to fight Venice. It's a pretty big force, but with all these guys on our side, it's a surprisingly even fight. Wouldn't have expected it to even be even, if I'm honest. I kind of thought we would win this one resoundingly, but apparently that's not the case. Not as strong as I'd like to be, huh? Not as strong as I'd like to be. So the question is, would it make sense to do this war? Is there a smarter way to approach it? One that would not involve calling in all these people? I don't think so. I think it really is going to come down to fighting everyone. Austria is going to be the big heavy hitter once you factor in Austria-Hungary. Because once they're out of this, it's not that bad. I'm not individually afraid of Florence. Venice is admittedly strong. And the thing is, between Austria-Hungary, Venice, and Florence, they're going to demolish the Papal States and Naples. This I'm pretty sure of. But if France come and joins me, we could probably siege down the war leader Aragon, and then I could just peace out for a handful of provinces and break alliances if needed. There are easier things I could do, of course. I could just go fight Tlemcen again and stuff like that. And that would be fine, quote-unquote, but I'd really rather just go kill Aragon and get him out of my way. Start this process, isolate them, make it easier, you know what I mean? I think that might be better. So this is what we're gonna do, and pray that this does not go badly for me. Here goes nothing. France is already moving in to surround and entrap anybody who would have been over here. That said, it looks like Aragon's forces are all down here, so Naples is uber dead, is basically what just happened there. I'm so sorry, I was unaware that that was how this was gonna go down. I mean, I knew it was a distinct possibility, I just didn't care, if I'm being completely honest with you. Valencia has been sieged, let's try to hit them hard here. That did a lot of damage, good. And the Protestant Reformation just began. No! Alright, I was hoping to delay that as long as possible. The longer the Age of Discovery goes on, generally the better for Portugal, but this is what we have to worry about now. Hey! I am now the papal controller, though! Well, this comes at a great time, thank you! Always nice to be controlling the Curia. Extra diplomats, advisor cost reduction, prestige, tech cost reduction, blah blah blah. 20% less aggressive expansion, too. Like, this comes at a phenomenal time. Naples has left the war. They gave land to Aragon? You didn't have to do that. I mean, I understand why you did. You're completely broken as a nation, but... ouch, it sucks to be you. Alright, well, your contribution's been nice, and now I don't have to share any of the spoils with you. Ooh, France is about to see a wave of enemies coming after them there. Hey, Vienna, you lost your capital. How would you like to just get out of this nonsense? Yeah, let's just go ahead and get rid of them, honestly. Get rid of Austria immediately. They're the big heavy hitter. With that down, now it's Venice, Florence, and Aragon. That's handleable with the current setup. Now I do the same thing here to get Florence out of the arrangements, try to break off some relationships so that Aragon is more isolated for the future. There's a siege of Ferrara and such for Venice. All right, can we get you to break off that relationship with Aragon? Yes, give me a little bit of cash. You're out of here. All right, that leaves the Knights, who I don't care about in Aragon. The Knights, by the way, who are not in Rhodes, they are in Malta. I mean, we could go kill them and just take the island for the heck of it. Not even a horrible thing to do, honestly. It's not part of the trade node I care about, but it is an island. Let's go ahead and take everything we think we want. So I had claims on a handful of lands along here. Actually, I have claims on all of it. What am I talking about? We want this for sure. That's an important trade province in Safi. Beyond that, let's take Toledo. We could start working our way up along a coast. That's 68% war score, kind of a lot. I could do something like, let's say, take a vassal right along here. That does exist. That's 95% war score. I don't want Barcelona. Sorry, that's not important to me. I'll take this, though, for the sake of the border gore. And then, beyond that, what else do I think I want? Do I want to release a vassal up here? We could do that. What kind of coalition am I looking at? Not even much of one. So I could release two vassals, two tiny little vassals right along here if I wanted to. Is an idea, but I could also save that for later, because it's not like I get any Reconquest CBs with that, so does it matter that much? Probably not. Could release Navarra, feed them some land. I'm trying to think what saves me admin power, because Diplo's not an issue. Or would I rather just make as much progress as I can in taking over the trade node and stuff like that? Because I could just spend the admin power and just take all this. Technically, that's good enough. Then again, I never did have you break up your relationship with Austria, so let's make that a priority as well. Yeah, I think that would be wise. Okay, and then I could just take this. That is an expensive but acceptable peace deal, I think. Yeah, let's do this. I think this is good enough. All right, boink, thank you. And then we release Majorca as a vassal. Or do I want to release Valencia? Hold on. Because they have... I could do a small Reconquest war with these guys instead. That would be an option too. Yeah, but how often do you get to see Majorca in a game? It's pretty rare. Let's just go ahead and bring them out. Alright, they're back. Cool. And now we can upgrade our government rank. I no longer need to be a mere kingdom. I can instead become an empire. Yes! The Portuguese Empire shall rise! Anyway, let's go to war against Tlemcen once again, and I'll fight against Jared and Fizon, who I do actually want to feed off to Togurt before I annex them. Age of Discovery is going to be ending in 62 months, by the way, so we got about 5 more years to enjoy this incredibly fast colonization speed that we've been getting used to. It'll be sad to see it go, to be honest, but it's been nice while it lasted. I just would have loved to have had at least 2 colonial nations before it came to an end. Togurt now grows a lot more. They take over all that land. Looking good. Norway set up a colony down here. Really? That is a choice. That doesn't even make sense. Why would you even colonize down there? That's like the weirdest spot ever for it. You can't get any money out of that arrangement. Weird, man. England's going for Canada, which, yeah, that was expected. That's fine. Go for it. Why is my camera always getting skewed? How is this even happening? I don't know. It shouldn't be. And then I feel like I'm sinking slowly further and further down into the camera, you know what I mean? It's kind of weird. I mean, I am recording this on, like, April Fool's Day. What if I just recorded it like this, like, all day? That'd be fun. Apparently something big's happening over here in Eastern Europe, by the way. Austria just rejected a demand from the Commonwealth to end whatever their war is, so now the Commonwealth's involved and they're in a big war. The Austrian conquest of Zara? Y'all have fun over there. Weaken yourselves. You're not the color blue, which means you don't matter to me. And there's the Age of Reformation. Alright, well, that ends that nonsense. That's a dang shame, though. I would have much preferred to have something else. Alright, we've done some conversions. That's kind of it. So I'm not going to be doing really well in terms of splendor for a while now. My golden era has truly ended, but what a golden era! I mean, the Portuguese Empire has grown rather substantially. We've got a presence all over the place. In fact, I am this close to now being able to, doing a circumvention of the world. Plus, we have a new idea group. Okay. Well, it's going to be a military idea group. Question is, what lines up best with what I've already got? Could go for offensive, for some settler chance, yes. Defensive, it's good, but not quite what I'm looking for. Quantity, maybe? Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. I think that's what I want. We're gonna go for the quantity ideas. Let's go ahead and start ramping up my manpower and the number of troops that I can field. Plus, eventually, we're gonna get ourselves a nice little policy that gives me global settler increase. I'll hand all this off to Ashanti. Whoop. I think I just died. Hold on. I did indeed, but now Jose de Avi comes into power. We have a 5-3-4 for an heir. That's still pretty good. A really good marriage. And now I have absolutely no problem doing sales of exploration. Get me that extra Diplo power attached, so now we have a 5-4-5 leader. Good. I also can finish another mission over here. Brazilian dominance. There you are. Nice, because we got 10 colonies there. Liberty Desire and Global Tariffs for a little while is fine. Then we have the Triangle Trade, because I have the strongest trade power in Ivory Coast, Brazil, and Sevilla. Or Sevilla. I say it both ways. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, 2 mercantilism. More goods produced, and the price of slaves goes up. Yeah, I feel real proud of that one, don't I? Yeah, so proud. Oh, didn't stay with that papal controller for very long. Well, that sucks. Ah, well, it's fine. Alright, so Ashanti now takes all this land. That was pretty easy for us. Perfect. Austria and Aragon got a military alliance again. Boo. Alright, they're still fairly weak. Their truce expires in 5 years, so they got plenty of time to get alliances back. I would have loved to have kept them away from that one, though, because that would have made it a lot easier with France's help in the future. Oh, well, it's fine. Funny thing is, I wasn't planning on recording any more EU4 here today. Hey, there's that circumnavigation I said it was gonna happen. And it did. Bada boom. That's gonna be a bunch of free Monarch points for me. Nice. Anyway, wasn't planning on doing any more here. But I've got a gigantic pot of Vindaloo that is currently cooking right now, so I'm going to be up for at least the next 2 to 3 hours. So I'm like, what the heck? I might as well do a bit more EU4, and I don't regret it one thing. By the way, what the heck happened up here? Interesting, Luxembourg annexed Burgundy. Huh, you don't see that every day. Charter of the Seas is done. Max Admiral Maneuver +1 for the rest of the game. Cool, I guess. Why not? About to finish the annexation of Togerts, whatever you want to call them. There it is, boom. So my font gets a lot bigger, and we all know that's the most important thing in the world. I am going to try for a war here against the Mamluks if we can. They're fairly weak, and what I'd love to do is to get in here and take the Alexandria trade node before the Ottomans are able to take all of this, because this is a lion's share. Not all of it, but it's a pretty substantial amount of trade power right here. If I could find a way to take just those 2 provinces, I'd be able to control not only the money flowing south and around Africa and out of South America, but I'd also be able to control the money going through Oman up through here into Alexandria. That'd be amazing. We can also get our 3rd colonist. Nice. So if I have another colonist, what I'm going to do is make sure I prioritize grabbing all of the trade provinces in places like the Ivory Coast. Make sure no one else is able to get that. Same sort of idea down here with the Cape of Good Hope. I want to get some progress up in Zanzibar, etc. The more I can deny from the AIs, even if France does start colonizing, I'm going to have so much of the trade power here, they won't make much of a dent in my income. At least such is the idea. Can finish off our expansion ideas. Global trade power plus 20% is kind of amazing. Not to mention the minimum autonomy in territories, so all non-stated provinces just went by 10%. That's just straight out more stuff. And we finish up royal absolutism, so construction costs just got cheaper for everything for the rest of the game. And of course, we're going to be able to pass our policy. Global settlers and native uprising chance minus 50%. Yeah, we should have a very, very low issues with natives. In fact, I'm kind of wondering now, if I were to swap over to the native trading policy, does the 50% become additive? Because if it's minus 50 from this and minus 50 from my new policy, then we're already at minus 100, so why not just take the native assimilation chance? Which could just be more free development. So I'm thinking we probably want to press this button. I'll hold off for the moment, but I'm thinking it might make sense. Either that or it's going to be one of those things where, well, it sounded like a great idea, but paradox math says, no, not going to work. Colonial Caribbean now exists. We could form the colony of Cuba. Do I want to make another self-governing colony, or do I want to do something else? Could make this one into a private enterprise. There's an achievement to get one of all 3, so I'm going to do that anyway, and you can swap them around, so it's not like it's the end of the world. I'm going to do a private enterprise because I do think that Cuba is going to be very much a trade-focused colony. Lots of money flowing my direction. At least such is the idea. Just like before, let's make sure we give at least a decent amount of subsidy so they can start colonizing a bit all on their own. We've also finished up another mission, colonize the Caribbean, trade efficiency for 10 years, or 20, yeah, 10 years, that's 20 years, that's nice. I got confused by the 10% for the 20. I'm sorry, all right? Did I mention it's late at night? I really should not be cooking right now, but here I am. All right, this war against the Mamluks actually took a lot longer than I thought it would. They managed to stack me a couple of times, which is shocking because I don't really know what happened and how they did it. It was something weird where like an army disengaged and then the other one stayed in the fight, but then only retreated one province down and instantly died. Weird stuff. Anyway, I've got what I want, which are these provinces along here. Everything else feels completely unnecessary, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and take a lot of money, to be honest. This seems fine. The coalition's a non-existent threat, so who actually cares? I could pillage you for the heck of it. It would be a really mean-spirited thing to do, but it is, you know, 111 development in the capital. But it would also antagonize the Ottomans, so no thank you. Let's just do this. Happy with this. Good enough. That's the trade. By the way, have I explored the entire world, at least as far as the coastline? It sure looks like I might have. Yeah, that's officially done. I've done all the exploration there is to do. Okay, from here on out, explorers are useless except for being really good admirals. The collapse of the Mamluk Sultanate. Yeah, that was going to happen. So looks like the Ottomans get some fun stuff by holding on to the capital here in Cairo, blah, blah, blah. Ottomans doing Ottoman things, basically. The Ottomans are actually pretty fun these days. They've got their own, like, special, unique, like, mechanics for different regional, semi-autonomous subject kind of mechanics. It's cool. It's a really cool thing they've got. Worth playing, to be honest, but, I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe another day. First things first, we gotta deal with Aragon, who has been excommunicated, which I think is very interesting. So by doing this, we can force them to do weird things like core revocation and stuff like that. And it would be pretty low in aggressive expansion, like they're basically just a free punching bag. So like, why would I not make use of this while I can? There's some cool stuff we can do here. And if I call in all of my buddies, this time they can definitely deal with Austria, Genoa, and Milan, right? There's no Venice in the picture. Actually, the Papal State got a lot stronger. Holy crud. Yeah, yeah, this should be easy. Let's do the thing. And don't get me wrong, Aragon's not a total pushover. They got 50,000 troops sitting around here. It's enough to rival what I've got immediately around me. But with France on my side, like, I mean, come on. That said, I have absolute naval dominance, and we already know how effective I am at any sort of coastal sieging. Would I like to spend 4 military power to get an instant breach? You better believe I would. Look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, this is going to be a complete and total rout at this point. France got a little bit of damage over here. Kind of what they do, honestly. Austria just sort of pops out over here where they have random weird territory. Austria believes in border gore, okay? They're very big believers in that. They're going to do things like that. It's nonsense. Whatever. It's fine. And then we just sort of pop in and clean them all up. By the way, Genoa appears to be ready to give up, which is great. Why don't you just go ahead and... Oh, maybe not. I thought they might be willing to give up. Okay, fine. That's weird. Why not? All your territory is sieged, isn't it? Well, okay. Except for stuff way over here, but, like, no one cares about that. I did, however, somehow completely run out of manpower. I am not totally sure how I did that. If I'm honest, that is impressive. Well, it doesn't help that a 70 stack just fell upon me. Oh my god. At least we got the capital of Vienna very quickly here, so we can go ahead and knock Austria out of this war. And give a little bit of money and stuff. I don't know about that one. I do want you to break your alliance with Aragon. I think that's important. So, let's just go ahead and do that. Force them once again out of this nonsense. Leave me alone. Thank you kindly. I'm going to take Corsica with the intention of giving it off to Majorca so they can do a thing. Got another mission, apparently, for doing that. What was it? Reform the Navy? Oh, okay. I've got a really big Navy and stuff, and a shipyards and blah, blah, blah. Yearly tradition. Wow. Navy tradition for the rest of the game? That's pretty good. Also, galleon and caravel ships and stuff. Okay, yeah, sure, why not? That sounds nice, I'll take it. So, what can I take for myself here out of Aragon? Do I want to take Iberia proper, or do I want to start taking territory, let's say, in Tunis? I don't really benefit a lot from taking the Valencia trade node, if I'm honest, which I know feels weird, because you'd think I want to eat all this land. And eventually I do, but it's not a top priority. It might be better to just hand off as much over to Majorca as I can. Because, like, I could take all of this, for example, and that wouldn't be a half bad deal for me. Then I take this province and this province, which at least kicks them out of all the other trade nodes, so they only have Valencia, which is kind of okay, and then I'm not really worried about any of their other allies. Right now, that's not a big deal. So I could just go with this, try to go for a slightly shorter truce timer, and then plan on fighting them again in about 13 years. I could also release Navarra, and have another vassal that I just feed this all to at some point instead. Save the admin power, and go fight, let's say, in India and stuff. Yeah, that actually wouldn't be a half bad play. That would be an okay play for me. I'm okay with this. Alright, so Navarra now exists, and from here on out, I'm going to give them the rest of this territory. It may take a little while, but we'll give them a good chunk of it. I'm okay with eating Majorca kind of whenever I want to at this point, and now we have all of this land. So I'll hand all of this over to the trade company, and there we go. So I'm about to have very high control in this trade node, which means more money flowing directly to me. So there we go, up to 71%, okay. And then if I also push things up here with the Alexandria, right now 15% control is not a lot, but I have a merchant I can now assign there, so let's see what happens with that. That brings... Where's this going? Constantinople? I guess none of it goes to Tunis, does it? No, I'm sorry, I misread that. I thought the arrows were going through here. They're going only to Genoa. Okay, so Alexandria is not nearly as important to me as I thought it was. I'm going to do this anyway, mostly to screw with the Mamluks. Sorry, not the Mamluks, the Ottomans, and not send more money directly into their coffers. But, yeah, that's not actually that beneficial then. I've already got traders going from most of the places I care about. Gulf of Aden is sending a lot of money down towards me. A lot of it is lost in Zanzibar, unfortunately, so we want to start conquering this area next, I think. And that's going to get me the next big bucket of money. But, like, Seville has more money flowing into it than Genoa or Venice or the English Channel. So, I mean, like, I feel like we're doing pretty good there. France wants me to join a war against who? Are you serious? Who the heck am I even fighting? Who are these people? Really? You needed help for this one. Really? That's where you wanted to spend your favors? Alright, have fun with that one. By the way, there's the whole new weird, like, special mechanic that the Ottomans have here. This Ayelet i Messir thing, or whatever it is a special type of, like, vassal, I guess, under the Ottomans. And they got it just for holding on to Cairo. It seems like the entire Mamluk land just immediately fell to them. It's kind of weird, kind of crazy. I haven't personally tried playing around with it at all, but at some point I kind of want to. Another government reform coming online. Tier 5, huh? Well, we can go for something here for yearly army tradition decay, leader shock, raise a special manpower and sailor from provinces close to my capital. If you need manpower, there's an option, I suppose. Naval professionalism, amphibious specialization, all kind of cool, I suppose. I guess it would be kind of cool to do something unique, right? Sure, whatever. I need manpower and stuff anyway. Let's see what this does exactly, I'm curious. Or is it a province-only decision? Question mark? It's not like a special edict or anything, is it? Huh. I have no idea how this button works. I'll look it up later. I think my next target here is going to be Kilwa, who appears to be getting sieged down by Mutapa. So they're not exactly in a strong position right now, which I consider to be perfect. So let's get in there and take advantage of them while they're weak. Oh, there's the Ordenyakas, or whatever they're called. 47 military power, 1 year worth of manpower, 2 war exhaustion. You can lose 2 war exhaustion by clicking this button, too? All provinces within 50 range of Lisboa. What defines 50 range, though? I wish it showed me, so I don't have to think about it. Are we talking colonial range? Because if we're talking colonial range, like, that's all of Iberia. I can get a year's worth of manpower from all of Iberia and then some? That doesn't seem bad, guys. That doesn't seem bad at all. Let's go ahead and finish out the quantity ideas here. This is great, so now we get all those bonus effects. Land force limit, land attrition, blah, 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 to protect some of my manpower. Plus, we get some additional policies to pass. And I'll go ahead and go with the global settler increase plus 10 again. Who else is colonizing now? Holland? We weren't supposed to have any competition, guys. We weren't supposed to have... It's still nothing compared to what Castile was going to do. Not even remotely close, but still. I'm a little bit peeved about it. And now France wants to call me in another war. Are you just gonna keep calling me in on every new world war you've got? Is that gonna be the thing you do now? Because if so, I'm telling you right now, that's a massive waste of my time. And talent, for that matter. By the way, since we're sitting at maximum admin power, let's just go ahead and check something. So, native uprising chance. Well, right now it says minus 220%. Now that's because of the native coexistence policy. Take that and the assimilation of natives out of the way, minus 100. It is additive. I see no reason not to just go ahead and swap this over to a native trading policy. Yes, I lose a stability, but I can just go ahead and spend the power to get it back. Who cares? Boom. No native uprising, now assimilations equal faster colonizing. Unconditional surrender. Oh, hey, Mutapa just ate, like, everything I wanted. Oh, shoot, now I have to go... Now I have to go fight Mutapa? Okay. Awkward, thank you. Alright, so this is not what I was expecting to take out of Killua at all, but I guess we're gonna have to do it. There's a trade province up over here. I wouldn't mind taking that. Well, I'll take all of this along the coast, and then I guess I'll take some provinces here, since there are indeed some trade provinces to be had. So if I kind of work my way along the coast like this... that would work. Okay, so this is going to give me a lot more control in the Zanzibar trade node, at least. Even if it's not quite what I was shooting for. Unfortunately, now I really do have to fight Mutapa, which it keeps saying is Killua. Like, when I right-click on this, it's not showing the right people. So, how am I supposed to be able to see you? Diplomacy. There we go, finally. There you are. Okay. You're the person I want to go kill. Why don't I have claims on this anymore? I should. Something weird's going... Now we have... Okay. Wouldn't you think that when the war ended, Mutapa taking all this land, my claims transfer over, then it would say I've got conquest. Instead of, hey, we can't figure out who Mutapa is, then it finally recalculates, and now I can declare war and fight Mutapa. Who, by the way, is not very strong, so taking the rest of the land that I wanted along the coast is fine, easy in fact, barely an inconvenience, and we'll get another mission done by doing so. All right, another colonial nation done. We decided to go ahead and race France over a piece of Colombia, so now at least I was able to claim all of this. That's 2 important trade provinces done. I'll make this another self-governing colony. We actually just got the achievement regardless, even though I hadn't technically assigned this yet, so that's now done, which is great. And just as before, let's make sure these guys get some subsidies, a decent amount for, well, the rest of the game. Let's make sure they never go broke. And anyway, over here against Mutapa, I think I've got pretty much everything I want. Though, don't you guys have, like, a lot of gold mines or something? I feel like that... Yep, they do. Oh, good lordy, lordy, I want all of that, don't I? Yes, that would be good. We'll start with the stuff that I have claims on for sure. In fact, I'll just go ahead and work up the whole coast, because I might as well. That's not too much overextension, though it will be soon-ish. And gosh, if I could just take, like, all of this, too. Oh, it'd be insane. Yeah, I'm just gonna take all of this. This is a big stretch of land, I acknowledge this. But I think it's gonna be worth it if I can hold on to a whole bunch of extra gold. In the meantime, my truce with Aragon is expiring in about 3 years, so we need to be ready for our next round of fighting. They're allied to Austria again, good God, when will Austria get the hint? In the meantime, can I please point out the map here and how it looks like I have indeed gained a pretty substantial foothold in all of Africa? With some very small exceptions, if I just keep working on this, we're gonna have the entire coastline under our control. We're that close. Printing press is our next institution. Alright, so where did that actually fire? That popped up in Rothenburg, way up over here. Don't know that we're gonna be getting that anytime soon, unfortunately. That seems to be a very Protestant-focused thing. Once again, I don't know what the heck is going on with, like, Austria-Hungary and such. I mean, yeah, they got a decent number of troops, like 80,000 or so, more than France apparently between all of them, and yet France just keeps ceding ground to them right and left. I don't understand it. I'm doing a lot of the heavy lifting here, France. That's not how this relationship works, need I remind you? There's the siege of Vienna. Okay, can we please try this one more time? Stop allying these people I don't like. That puts me up to 100% war score. Okay. Vindaloo is done, by the way, thank God. Alright, so that's 2 hours done. Now I have to wait for the whole thing to cool, and that's gonna take forever. That's not your problem, though. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, right, we can hand a lot of this stuff off. I could also try releasing Sicily as a vassal for an easy reconquest war later. Which is okay, yeah, we could in fact do that, yeah. Although technically I already have that right here with Malta, because I did kill the knights just now. If only I could release them while we weren't at war, I could actually just hand them all this land right now. Wouldn't that be fun? But we can't. So, if I want to hand off, let's say, all of this, we could. And then I'm not going to worry about this. We'll use it for a reconquest war using Malta later. So that leaves me with, like, this? That's a pretty small, weak Aragon, you know? There's really not much they can do from here on out if we do this. It's pretty strong. I think so. I think this is good enough. It's not like I can take that much more anyway, and I barely have to core anything, so all that's done. Cool. I am probably going to start annexing another vassal here pretty soon. In fact, I definitely will. But let's go ahead and release Sicily, so at least we'll be able to use a reconquest for them later. And I'm thinking probably Majorca we can just go ahead and eat. It's going to cost a lot, but we have lots and lots of Diplo power, so I don't really care. Now, why is France angry with me? They want my subjects' provinces. Yeah, this could become a problem pretty quickly if we're not careful. I really want to stay allied with France. France is blue. We like blue. Something, listen up. This is a story about a blue man who lived in a blue world and everything he sees is blue. Inside and outside, blew his house with a blue little window, and you get the idea. I'm not going to keep going on that, I promise. How are we doing as far as the great power rankings, by the way? I'm number 1. That's awesome. It's not... Well, I guess... No, I will stay that way. Even if the Ottomans do embrace the printing press, we'll still be at the top. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. The Ottomans are a lot stronger than me, though. So, don't get too excited by that. They're still very, very, very strong. Alright, I've died. It was gonna happen here eventually, wasn't it? Now we have a 5-3-4 in charge with a terrible 2-2-2 heir. Well, our luck couldn't hold forever, could it? There we go. Now I finished this mission over here. Shipyards of the East, 2,700 ducats. Permanent claims on Butwa and Zimbabwe areas, by the way, means not a lot, because I already got most of that. So there's a little bit more I can use here against Mutapa, and that's going to be it. So once that's done, all provinces in Zimbabwe and Butwa areas get base production in a bunch of places, African gold rush, blah, blah, blah. That seems pretty cool. I'm about to finish up some of the colonies required for us to get a new colonial nation up here to start out Mexico, by the way. So that way we'll have 4 nations that are gradually colonizing. Brazil's really slow for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on with them, but they are, they're not trying very hard is all I can say. They're really not trying that hard, but they're making progress little bit by little bit. 4 colonial nations all working, easily sucking off of my teat and enjoying my subsidies, no problem whatsoever. That's going to help speed us up beyond anyone else. So far, Britain's doing okay up here in the north. France only has this colonial nation in Colombia, which I could take pretty much anytime I want. I did see that they're going way down over here, so they might start fighting me over La Plata next. We will see. But in the meantime, really good progress as far as conquering a lot of the stuff that I want. Aragon is 1 war away from being removed, or at the very least, I'll leave them just in Napoli, so they can deal with that. We've got so much of African's coast under our control, so we're looking really good on that front. My next target, honestly, is to go and fight in India. I think that we should fight in India and start taking a lot of the coastline down over this direction. Eat this all up, start making progress in this particular trade node so we can make sure all that money is going to be going down to where we are in power. And that is going to be powerful for us because remember, it so happens that India has a lot of wealth. Like so many spices, so much metal, so many textiles, gems. Like, there's a lot of wealth here. A lot of it. So if I can just get it all to Europe, I'm going to be stupid rich. And we're reaching that stage of the game where I basically just blink, look away for like 30 seconds, and oh look, I've got 2,000 ducats in the bank. So we're kind of hitting critical mass right about now, I think. Which is great, because as soon as we hit the age of absolutism, I have to start launching my Grand Crusade against all non-blue nations of Europe. So I want to be in a really commanding position in order to do that. But for now, I think that's good enough. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If so, I would humbly ask you hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.